All right, let's go to Jim across the northern border in Calgary. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Sunny, but it's a cold day here today. So
That's so good, man. Oh, hey, can I just tell you, your accent brings me joy. It makes me happy.
I have an accent.
Well, I'm a Texan, so we're basically on the other side of Earth, and I get the same thing. Like, man, we love your Texas accent. I'm like, I don't have an accent. I guess definitely I do. So yeah, it's fantastic. So hey, so what's up, man?
Basically, I'm looking to I've been trying to think of ways. I've been trying to reconnect with my wife. I have not been able to. I'm looking for ways to try and reconnect with my wife. It's just been going south for quite a long time now. We haven't really been all that close. We've been not basically roommates for years.
When's the last time y'all had sexual intimacy?
Probably over 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Part
of that is that I am basically working day and night, literally. Like it's not figurative. It's literal. I drive courier service from 10 at night till 5 in the morning, and then I work construction in the daytime till about up to 4 p.m., sometimes 5 p.m. Go to sleep. And so I'm lucky to get 4 is a 6 hour sleep a day, a night, whatever.
What are you running from?
What am I running from?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm running from anything. Maybe the bill collector. That's about it.
I mean, that's like, are you running from financial insecurity? Are you in a season where you're trying to earn a bunch of money to get your guys solvent because you're scared financially, or have y'all created?
I'd say that's accurate. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm self-employed,
okay.
So I run my own exterior business, and things were going quite well for quite a while there, and we were doing really good. We were just like a mom and pop shop, right?
Sure.
We just do it all on our own. Like I did a lot of it on my own. I actually built up to about 4 crews for a while, and that was going good for a while. And we were looking good. And then all of a sudden, the recession hit here in 2015, and everything just went south all at once. And it's just with the good graces of God and friends that we were able to hold on to our home and things like that. And it's just and I've been there's the people they've been saying, why don't you just go bankrupt? And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. They're my bills. I want to pay them.
That's noble and good. Is that when your marriage took a turn?
Yeah, it would be short, right in around that time. There's a lot of, oh God, if you want to go back into my past life, like it's like a person would probably make a career on me, just with a lot of different things that have gone on in the past.
Are you talking about in the past in your marriage?
I've had, this is my 3rd marriage.
Okay.
So, my first marriage was just a complete disaster. A very young wife got pregnant, and I wanted to be around my daughter, and so, but that just fell apart within 5 years. And then my second marriage, my wife just walked out. So, that one didn't go very well. And then it was my wife now, and we've been together going on now, I guess it'd be 24 years now, but we've only been married 9. So,
and she's left you too, Jim. She left you too. She stays in the house with you. But y'all aren't married.
Yeah,
y'all aren't married.
We're not even in the same room,
Yeah.
So and part of what's going on is that I think what really hurts me is like I'm I'm concerned about how this is affecting my daughter. Like I'm sure she's not stupid, but she seems like a happy child. But I just don't know how it's really affecting her, right? And like she's my daughter's like she's my wife.
How old is she?
12.
12. So your current wife isn't on the phone, so you're the only person I can talk to in this relationship. Okay, is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
All
That's
right.
fair. Yeah.
So if I look back to the last 3 relationships you've been in, there's been one common denominator, and that's you.
Yeah. Well, that's trust me, that's
Okay.
crossed my mind too.
All right. So
Um,
your first one, it just fell apart. I don't believe in that relational phrase. That's not a true statement. Things don't just fall apart relationally. People stop trying.
Okay.
They start putting their attention into other things like building a business or alcohol or still sleeping around or whatever. Like they put their attention other places and not on the relationship. And
Mhm.
like if you stop changing the oil in your car, it doesn't just fall apart. It quits working because nobody took care of it.
Right.
And
And
your
yeah,
second wife just left, right? She just said, I'm not doing this. Your third wife has just parked, right? She didn't fight. She didn't flee. She just froze. This is it. This is the life I got. I'm moving into this bedroom and I'm going to try to create a world where I can survive inside of a pocket of whatever chaos I live in. Or I'm going to continue to be a mistress to all these jobs. And imagine her wondering, man, what is so unbeautiful and unsexy about me? What is so undesirable about me that I'm second place to a courier service?
well, actually, I don't do the 2 jobs by choice, like because I've discussed with her on a number of occasions where I don't want to be working 2 jobs, and because she doesn't work,
Okay.
she stays at home. Um, when she when she was born, um, when my daughter was born, we agreed that she was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And I had no problem with that. And things were good at the time. Business was going well and all that. And I didn't have a problem with that. And we thought it would be better for her to be home with her mother instead of in daycare or whatever,
Great.
babysitters and stuff. And quite frankly, my daughter has never had a babysitter ever.
That's probably
So
not good because that means y'all have never been on a date.
no, we haven't. Not
Yes,
since she was born.
that's not good. That's a terrible statistic. My kids have had tons of
I
babysitters because me and their mom are always going out.
I have tried that. I
Mhm.
have made suggestions to go out. Anytime that we have gone out, it's with our daughter.
Okay.
So, and I love her to death. Like I
No,
love
there's
my
no
daughter. Like I
no,
said,
I know that
she's my.
totally. I totally believe that.
Um,
There's no question about that.
but I've wanted to go out and do things like just us go out. Like before our daughter was born, we used to go out dance and stuff. Like we were country western dancers.
Sure. So here's the deal.
We enjoyed that quite a bit.
Your wife has created a world inside of your marriage that includes her and her daughter and not you. And this is a pretty common thing that happens. And then you create a life financially that you have to have. And one of you just keeps working and adding jobs and doing stuff because the data you've received over the last 15, 20 years is you're not very good at relationships. And you love being a dad, but she's just better than you at it. And so the one thing you are good at is work. And so you say, that's the best way I can support and show my wife and my kid that I love them is I'm just going to work more and make sure their needs are taken care of. And there's some nobility to that. But I promise you, you are working yourself into an early, early death.
Oh, I know. I keep mentioning that. Like I said, I have brought this up with her, and I've wanted to, to quit the night job because it's.
But here's how we bring this up. Here's how we bring this up. We bring this up, you two, and I would push pretty hard for a babysitter, and I would push pretty hard for actually your kid's 12 now. It's not really a babysitter, but somebody to come over and keep your kid or let your kid go play at somebody's house for a weekend. And you and your wife are in desperate need of some sort of retreat, whether it's 4 hours or half a day or whatever that looks like. Do you have a history of yelling, getting fired up, getting raged out?
Actually, no, it's on the other end.
Okay, so your wife's got a
I'm
history of.
usually, I'm usually the calm one, and I'm usually when it's like I don't even try to discuss things anymore. Like I basically am constantly just walking away because I refuse to fight in front of my daughter. For one, I try my like I came from a pretty rotten family. Like my family life was pretty violent and abusive, and actually my wife came from something similar to that as well.
Sure.
From what she tells me, it was she was abused quite a bit.
Ah.
So
Here's where we get.
when we argue, it ends up into a screaming match. Well, I very rarely raise my voice. Like I get angry and I rarely raise my voice, and I will say things like, "You don't need to yell," and then she gets really loud and says, "This is yelling."
Exactly. Oh yeah. Coaching somebody on how they're angry is usually not the best best strategy. Usually the best strategy in that situation is later to say, "Hey, whenever we are having a disagreement, which everybody in a relationship is going to have, whenever you raise your voice, it reminds me of being a kid and I shut down. My body just shuts itself down." And so it would be really a gift to me if when we got into a disagreement, we figured out a way to do that calmly, or we wrote each other notes or whatever as we practice this. Mm-hmm. So earlier I said you were the common denominator. That goes one of two ways. The common denominator being you are the guy that's really hard to be married with, and all these women are marrying you, and then they're like, dude, I'm out of here, out of here, out of here. Or you've heard the old saying that's actually true. We marry our unfinished business. And it might be that you keep picking the same partner over and over again because your body has identified relationships as something that's abusive.
Yeah, that has crossed my mind too.
Well, and you have a little boy inside of you wondering what it was so bad about you that your mom screamed at you like that, and that dad beat the crap out of you, whatever happened. And you have a little boy that's constantly trying to solve it. And you tried it with wife number 1, and you tried it with wife number 2, and now you're trying it with wife number 3. And your wife's probably marrying her unfinished business because you look like a nice, stable guy, which is 100% different than what she grew up with. The only problem is she does not have the relational tools to be connected to a calm, quiet guy. She has relational tools for war. And you two have to decide, I'm going to stop doing relationships as I've done them my entire life and learn new skills. One of you, I'm going to speak up more and I'm going to let my needs be heard. And I'm going to stop committing long tail suicide in the form of working 20 hours a day for year after year after year. And your wife's going to have to learn every relationship is not a battle. In fact, there's a totally different reason for relationships, and it's peace. And I've just never experienced that, so I'm going to have to practice it and learn it. Y'all are both going to have to make that choice, or you're just going to have divorce number 3. And if you're going to have divorce number 3, I'd recommend sooner rather than later. But this works with you telling her, I want to love you the best that I can. And I have grown up with this and I want to do something different. Would you be willing to go with me? And that's going to look like me letting my needs be heard, me getting some sleep and honoring my body, me spending private time with my daughter, us rekindling romance, you making some choices to learn different ways of communicating and not fighting and going to war. Because you're talking about 2 adults deciding we're going to do everything different from this point forward. And that's a tall ask. It is 100% doable, but both of you have to be on the same page. I also know this, brother. I can feel it on you that you think this is going to be a futile conversation.
Yeah, I quite often I want to talk about something and I I just figure, what's the point?
All right. So here's what I want you to do. You know what's the point? You're worth the point. Your daughter's worth the point. Your marriage is worth the point. You still love that lady. Your wife is worth it. That's what the point is. That's the why. So if I'm you and I know I'm wading in to, the entrance to hell, I am going to write this down. I'm going to write a letter to my wife and I'm going to take her out. I'm going to read it to her. And the letter is not going to be filled with accusations. You don't do this and you don't do this and we haven't had sex in 3 years and you don't. It's not going to be that. It's going to start with, I miss my wife. I miss you. And I've participated in a marriage where we've ended up as roommates and I miss you. And I want to find our way back to one another. I don't want to raise a daughter who thinks this is what marriage looks like, that it's just roommates. I don't want to raise a daughter who feels like she is responsible for mom and dad's emotional well-being, that she's the center of our household, that everything revolves around her, so much so that my parents haven't had a date in a decade because of poor little old me, because she can't handle the weight of your household. She's 12. So you say, what's the point? You are, man. You get one shot at this little life, dude. So write it down, have the hard conversation. And for the first time, maybe in a long time, ask what you need. Ask yourself, what do I need, man? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to change? What am I willing to give? And ultimately, the end of this conversation with your wife is an invitation. Are you willing to go on this journey with me? Where we both learn new ways of interacting, we both heal from our childhood, that both of them are awful. I'm all in if you're all in. And it's going to be bumpy and hard. We might have to see a marriage counselor together, which I highly, highly advise. I don't really see a way forward for you two without it. It'd be great. The point is you and your marriage and your kid. You're worth it, man. Let me know how that conversation goes. I'll be thinking about you because this one's hard, I know. Because it takes two to tango, man. It takes two people to say, yes, let's change everything. And it only takes one person to say, shut up. Screw this. Get out. Get on with your life. And then you've got some really hard choices to make. And I'll be with you along those roads too, man, if that's where it ends up.